Yo, yo, and we are back, baby, yeah! Thank you so much for your patience, and now, back to the discussion. I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about before.
It was Arcane, and it was the political intrigue, if I remember right, was the last thing we
got
talked
really
about.
into Jace and all that, and I think we mentioned
like
something about something, and I was like, "Oh yeah, the lanes, and this is how you make a movie, or
this
show."
is how you. That's how we.
Yeah, that was the tangent. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's like I was saying, like this is why this show does very well. It's because of the fact that it introduced to like people who aren't even familiar with the craft.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's
that was about the tangent. Yeah.
And that's where we got into it. Okay.
We were still pretty early in the show, relatively too, and we had some characters because we did a deep dive on Jace for sure, but we didn't really talk about Vi or we talked a little bit about Jinx. We talked about Echo.
We talked about Jinx, and we did talk about Echo.
Yeah, yes. But not so much Vi.
Well, Vi in like her teen years.
Yeah, she had a cool arc too, though. I like her arc.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with you there. But actually, there's something I actually want to discuss with you two real quick.
Yeah.
So let me know your opinion on this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. When I found out that Jinx, Vi, and Caitlyn were going to be the main characters of the show, not gonna lie, I thought Riot was gonna do the same dumb mistake that most of these modern movies do with their female characters. But lo and behold, they didn't. And you know what that is?
What's that?
Riot made them strong characters. Not strong female characters.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction. A good distinguish.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's this. I watched a video on this about Legend of Korra, and I haven't watched Legend of Korra or Avatar: The Last Airbender, so.
Air Bear.
And I have watched this video about a year and a half ago.
Don't make me go on another tangent, because I will.
I got you. There was someone analyzing it, and one of their points about like the romance thing, because I guess that was something that was relatively questionable.
Yeah.
Was that like it matched for the type of characters they were. Right. Even though it was a male to female type of relationship, and then that broke up into a lesbian relationship, and people were like, well, that doesn't seem like it makes sense. But like if you analyze the characters, it kind of does. Yeah. So there's a lot of that in the show too, where like if you were to strip Vi, Jinx, Jace, and all that them down, even off of their League of Legends portrayals, right? Like as character story writing, it makes a lot of sense, right? We were talking before about Jace, how like he kind of got thrown into this fire, and he's going through this line of progression like constantly. Like his progress is leading to more progress, and he might be getting overwhelmed. But it kind of felt that way, that like his relationships were like that too, right? Because like he doesn't really talk to Caitlyn ever, for after like Act 3. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's true.
Like he just that's just a mute point at this point. Or even Act 4, I think probably was like the last time before like he got to Act 8, where they were like, "Oh shit, the Civil War's breaking out." It was like they kind of seemed like they had a romance thing going on, and then that got completely thrown out the window, and he's like, getting laid by the councilwoman. And that's kind of what it falls in line with that, right? Like his character has already jumped so many steps ahead in the political game of whatever is going on here, where Caitlyn's getting real deep into the nitty gritty of like all the ugliness that's going on,
Yes.
Yep.
They're spending time on two different surfaces, I guess.
Yep.
Another thing that I liked about Caitlyn is the fact that it's just one tiny little thing.
Yeah, the shows are allowed to be bad. Go for it. Rip it apart.
Right?
Take the mace to it.
Yeah, right? I get it. Mordecai's right.
There has to be something bad here. Come on.
What puzzles me is the fact that Caitlyn is part of this rich, aristocratic family, right? And her parents are part of the council. So, a common trope with the daughter or son or kid of that particular family is the fact that they're like this rich, snobby, don't know what they have, etc. type of character. But nah. She wants to be a soldier. she wants to train with a sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome that they don't go like the stereotypical route with that. The problem is the show doesn't fully explain as to why she wants to be a soldier. So I'm curious, like, what do you guys think about that?
I think the way that I kind of took it, and maybe that's not actually what it is, but I kind of took it as like she's lived her whole life being in such comfort and like
Yeah.
not no thrills, where she wants to be like on the front lines of like solving crimes and like being like an investigator. Maybe maybe not so much for the sniper part, but at least for the investigator part, that's kind of how I took it. But I see what you're saying.
There's this weird air with Caitlyn where like her actions don't necessarily lead to what she wants to do.
Yeah.
I think that they don't spell it out that much because she's not. I don't want to say she's not a main character because she is, but like I don't think they allotted enough time to develop this part of it for her.
Yeah.
But it really seemed like that. Like a lot of the things she did was because of her family and status.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
that was a big emphasis.
She wanted to get into the Zahn investigation, but her mom was always like, "No, it's not safe there. You should just become a guard. You'll advance up. It's safe up here on the surface, you know, or like in the top, built over, you know. Like just guard the family house, right? Her job was to guard the family tent, not anything else, right?
Yep.
She wanted to go over to the council area, and as soon as she saw a fire over there, she bolted for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she wanted to be in the thick of things, but she was always held back by something.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much of that they actually spelled out, but I got that vibe a little bit, you know. And I have family members that I think that go through such a similar thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the signs just from the way their parents interacted with her. And I'm like, oh, they're going to do this to her.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as they even mentioned something like that, I picked up on it.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I just find it interesting that they're okay with just putting their daughter as a guard.
Yeah.
Or shit, do sniper rifle training for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Caitlyn was their son, I mean, I could see that happening, kind of. And, okay, to the audience, don't get that twisted, okay? I'm not saying females can't be guards or soldiers. Don't get that twisted. What I'm saying is the fact that I just find it odd that an aristocratic family are okay with just putting their daughter in that type of role. That's all I'm saying. But what do y'all think about that?
And maybe it's just like the culture, like, because we don't know a lot about the culture. Maybe they see that as like more of a norm to them. Like, again, I'm just speculating, mind you. I don't have anything to go on, but it could just be a separate culture thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I got you, man. So, I want to go back to what I was saying when I said they made these characters strong characters, not strong female characters. So, like, for Caitlyn, she wants to go into a field that's mostly male-dominated.
Right.
And it's not because she wants to shake her cheeky ass out there being like, oh, hey, boys, guess what? Females can flex the guns too. Ha, ha, ha. No, that's not the reason. She wants to go in there because she doesn't want to live the lifestyle of a rich family. She doesn't want to be the princess. She wants to help and serve Piltover and not do the stereotypical, what should I wear for this afternoon's ball? Terrible as all hell accent, but y'all get the point.
Yeah, they really kind of drive that home.
And I the way that I look at it too, like, because I have a problem with female characters being like, oh, girl power. Like, I have no problem with like being empowered and everything like that. Like, that's fine, but there's ways to do it and there's ways not to.
Mulan live action, perfect example.
Right. Because like, I think how it should be is you shouldn't be strong because it's strong or weak because you're like a woman. You should be strong because you're strong, or you should be brave because you're brave. Why does gender have to play into that? And granted, I'm not saying there's no power to being a certain thing, like you can, but like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to feel like you're bound to this. You know what I mean? It's just like they're great not because they're a woman, but because they're just great. I don't see that as...
No, exactly. Because here's the thing. Everything you just said, it all correlates to one particular thing. Character. Not gender or anything of that matter. Character. And that's like the concept that most of these people, these directors, producers, etc., always fail to understand.
Yeah.
Because here's how I think of it. Since females are viewed as the weaker sex, these directors feel like they have the need to just, like, instead of just having them go through this struggle, learn from their problems, their mistakes, etc. These directors just hands it out like candy. Like, oh, it took you 10, 20 years to learn martial arts? I learned that shit when I was 5. You know why? Because I'm born perfect. Here's the thing. That's what ruins a character. If you don't have that development, the character is not taken seriously, the character's not relatable. Like, yes, this can be a problem for either gender, but it's heavily common with female characters, and that's just something that needs to be fixed. Like, Jesus.
It's like they have something to prove. It's like, you don't need to prove it. Like, do what you would do. Don't do it despite of something. Do it because that's how you want to do, or how you want to act. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. I think that's the difference. There's a little more to it, but I think that's like the main one for me, at least.
No, yeah, exactly. Like with Vi, and the point of her character. She doesn't go around stealing shit. She doesn't beat the living fuck out of those guys in the very beginning just to prove some type of empowerment. No. She does that for the benefit of her family, along with the fact that those guys were an obstacle in their path.
Oh.
Jinx doesn't do the shit she does for empowerment reasons. She does it because she's going through a crap ton of trauma and doesn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it's not empowerment of gender for Jinx. It's empowerment of trauma, right? Like
exactly,
she
yeah.
Could not be useless, right? It's her ultimate thing. She wants to be useful to somebody. She wants to be loved. She doesn't feel like she has any of those ever.
Yeah.
And she's haunted by the people she killed.
Which, yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Oh man, let's get into Jinx. Dude, I can go on Jinx forever.
Let's get into that for sure, because like there's like that scene where Vander, like their father figure, or adopted father, gets kidnapped, and like the 3 kids like going. Usually it's 4, but Vi tells Jinx to stay back because she doesn't want to worry about her little sister.
Right, that came from a place of love, you know, like, hey, you are literally the last thing in my life right now that's not in danger. Stay that way, you know?
And Jinx took that to heart, and she found a sense of betrayal and stuff like that. Especially like when she overheard like I forgot, like the skinny brother, I forgot what his name was, but she overheard that guy said that, why do you bring Powder along? She's fucking useless and stuff like that. When she was like when he was talking to Vi in private. What were you saying?
Yeah.
He said that she's a Jinx.
She's a Jinx, exactly.
Kind of like where the name comes from, right?
Yeah. That was where it initially spawned, and then she said it out of anger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it seems barbaric with the stuff you see her do, especially that age, but at the same time, though, it's still very relatable.
Oh yeah, like everyone probably to some lesser or greater extent of that has experienced that, you know? Like, hey, I just want to do this with you guys, and they're like, no, you can't, and you just don't know. You just don't get it.
Yeah, you feel powerless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her trying to prove herself is basically what killed her family in the long run.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I saw it a little bit when I first watched it, but when I skimmed through it before this podcast, the scene really sets up in like 5 different frames.
Yep. That
they literally, the wall is broken down by the big guy. The skinny guy got Vander out of the shackles. I's got a good hold on the door. You know, they're all communicating to each other that they're ready to get out, and then that explosion happens. This is a little bit of a tangent, but they do something in this show that's really interesting that I just noticed too. They do like not necessarily like a flashback, but they repeat a scene in this show a couple times where like they'll take a scene and an action occurs, and then like they'll repeat this scene to show a different action also occurring, right? Like the Jinx's explosion,
a chain reaction.
It set the things on fire, it burned Singe, it blew up in front of that big mutant guy, it blew up towards Silco, and the chick lost her arm. You know, and they replayed that scene over and over again, and like they do it in a way where like you don't even notice it really the first time that they're doing it. It's almost like you're watching that explosion on a continuation. But they do it for a couple other things too, where the repetition happens.
Yeah. It's like I was annoyed with it at first, but then like after like the 3rd or 4th cycle, it's like, holy crap! All this shit is happening because of that one action.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It really defines like how much impact that had.
Yes,
You know?
definitely.
It was very well done. It's like, holy shit.
It was. I agree. It's for like impact, and like you definitely felt it like with each one. You're like, oh my god, like Jesus, like I noticed that too.
And then next thing you know, Vi finds out what Powder did. Like Powder was like walking over to Vi, hoping to seek approval. That oh yeah, did I do a good job? Like when Vi found out that when Vi found out it was, especially since they actually had like a route, they actually had like an escape, but then like that whole explosion happened, and the next thing you know, it caused rubble to fall, which crushed the two brother characters, and it tampered with the escape route that Vander was making, which, if I remember correctly, Vi was crushed by a bunch of debris as well, right?
Yeah, she was a little crushed.
So, like, because of that, Vander had to go deal with the guy who was roided up on that purple stuff, which, what the hell was that stuff called again?
The shimmer.
The shimmer, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, like, the thing is, like, the dude threw Vander off the balcony, and then, like, that's slammed him into a bunch of shimmer, and because of that, the stuff about the shimmer is the fact that, from what I noticed, is that it enhances machines, it heals you, and does a couple of other things, and like enhances your strength. The drawback, which is usually the case when it comes to this kind of stuff, is the fact it puts you in like a berserker state. Like if you don't have a strong mental or you don't have a full grasp of the stuff, you just lose yourself completely. And keep in mind, this dude got like a big ass whiff of like at least like 50 vials, maybe more. So my dude just straight out just hulks out and just starts wrecking havoc.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that even though he technically lost himself, he recognizes Vi when he's like right in front of her. So he beats up the guy, and then like when he was incapacitated, he goes to go help Vi by pulling off the rubble.
I like that he had a choice. He had a choice too. Like they put emphasis to that.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where like and then after like when they got out and stuff like that, it's like the effects started wearing off from the shimmer, and the next thing you know, rest in peace, Big V.
Yep.
The next thing you know, that whole scene with Powder and Vi, it is so powerful, dude.
It's a heart wrencher, dude.
Like,
it's hard to watch.
Especially because
you see how excited Powder is. And Vi is just so devastated, and then like the tables flipped. You know, Vi is angry and Powder's devastated, and then Powder's angry and Vi is sad, and then Powder's sad. So they're just like off sync, but going through the same emotions. You know,
especially like when Vi punches the fuck out of Powder.
Oh
like,
yeah!
Oh my god!
Like holy shit! I knew she was gonna be pissed, but holy god. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
And then she couldn't like console her either, like because she got arrested too.
No, yeah, she was trying to.
Yeah.
Because like Vi was walking off or something like that, and like you see like Powder just crying out for her, saying like, you know, don't leave me. I'm sorry, please don't leave me. You started like that, and the next thing you know, she's like Vi sees like Silco like across from where Jinx is, and the next thing you know, Vi was going to try and stop Silco and try to grab Powder, but the next thing you know, you see the one soldier, I believe it was Marcus, and like he knocks Vi out with with chloroform, and then pulls her away to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's one of those things where like I love the fact that they show the fact that she tried. I'm glad they didn't do the whole thing where like the flashback thing where like they showed the character trying to do it, but events didn't pan out that way. I'm glad they didn't do that, and they just did it like during the scene.
Yeah, they usually
during
wait.
That moment.
They usually wait to show that stuff. Yeah, I like that too.
Because like that'll give you just like a whole different interpretation or perception of Vi.
Yeah, and it sets up a lot too, because you're like after that act, you're like, oh wow, so Vi's gotta go find Powder now, but now Powder thinks that Vi left her. It's just this weird dynamic now, you know.
And that's the thing. This show does like a very good job of explaining like PTSD, anger, and just
Dude,
What
the
were you gonna say?
representation of fucking Powder's and Jinx's nightmares is insane because it's always the skinny dude.
Yeah.
Always the skinny dude that shows up around her corner being, taunting her, and she always screams at him to stop. Because he was the guy who named her.
Mm-hmm.
It was him,
Yep. And she has to live with that.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like how it was like 2D and like really like ruffled, you know what I mean, like sketched and scratched. I like that too.
And speaking of which, let's talk about Silco.
Ooh, Silco.
Yeah, Silco. Okay.
So, man.
Go ahead. I'll say my point.
Go ahead, because I don't know. Because all I have for that man is theories, but like that man is a really good manipulator, and he's like a really good villain because like he still has a purpose, right? And but you can see that it's kind of fucked up and skewed.
Yes.
He just seems like he shouldn't be a man of power, but like he's also like one of the few things holding Zon together, you know?
Yeah, and I like that he does messed up things, but he does what he really thinks needs to be because like, shit needs to happen, and like you can't just go around people's sensibilities,
Even though the dude's like very upped up in the head, his character is actually very, very complex. In my opinion, I feel like he's more of like a anti-hero type of thing, in a sense, to where like he does a lot of effed up stuff, like to where like he doesn't give a crap if like it's basically like chess. It's like he doesn't care if he has to sacrifice a few pawns as long as he checkmates and gets what he needs to achieve his objective.
Yeah.
But it's another when you see his relationship with Jinx. It's like yes, he's very manipulative, especially when he lies about the fact that he says that Vi was dead.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Of course, that came back to haunt his ass, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Oh, absolutely it did.
Yes. I like that she was on that. Jinx was on that.
Yeah, dude.
And she's like, fuck you.
Yeah. But it's like you see that relationship that he has with Powder, or Jinx in this case, and you see, that's what I like. I actually like those kinds of characters because he does a lot of crazy shit, but at the same time, though, it's for the peace of Zon. Because of how much like their city is just like looked down upon, and
it's not always going to be pretty. Like you're gonna have to do stuff you don't really want to do, but shit has to get done. So like even though you don't agree with how he's doing, it's like I get that he has to do it. Like you can see that resolve that he has.
Yes, exactly. It's all about perspective.
Yeah. I also like his relationship with Jinx. So at first I was like, oh, he's just manipulating her and like just using the hell out of her, and stuff like that. And it's like he was, but what I like is like he actually did care. Like he did, like it wasn't just full on like, yeah, I'm using you, I don't give two shits. Like he legitimately cared, and they made that very clear. And it's like more gray, like so he's not a full piece of shit, is he? I mean, he is, but like there's something there, like you know what I mean, like. Like his intentions are good at the end of the day, and like
exactly,
Jinx,
yeah,
he really does want to help Jinx too. But yeah, it's just in a really fucked up way. But I like it because it shows like life isn't always like black and white. Like shit happens.
Yeah,
like you have good intentions.
Yeah, and it's weird because Jinx is like a linchpin of all of his like goals and problems, right? Because like she not only was being led by Vander, who betrayed him, and then she fucked up that whole situation, but then like the whole reason like she's even in a situation where she's this messed up is because of the divide between Piltover and the Undercity. Because if that wasn't there weren't the lanes, there wasn't that war, like half these problems like we would even know that they could be problems,
Yes.
So she's in a glorified example of why it needs to get fixed, but at the same time, she's also someone who keeps like causing a lot of trouble for him in completing these goals.
Yes.
Because she got the orb, which not only like caused a lot of problems in the upper city, but like it also was a tool for them to study and learn what they're doing over in Piltover. And then like he, whatever the chick was like, this Jinx chick needs to go. And he's sitting at the fountain, like, trying to contemplate, man, I really, Jinx does cause a lot of problems for me. He says that out loud, and she overhears it, and then she snaps. But, like, he ultimately decides that, like I fucking need this chick. Like,
yes.
She's a liability, but...
She's a liability. She has faith in me, and, maybe it's not my number one agent, but, like, fuck, she does a good job.
Yes.
Half the time.
he admires her work, even though she does a lot of stuff that is completely out of turn in regards to, or not part of the plan, especially when she kills all those soldiers. What was it? Like Caitlyn's group, I believe what it was.
Yeah, I think so.
And like she kills like 6 soldiers, right?
Yep.
Like they had like a big funeral for them and everything, and it's like, damn.
Yeah.
But Jinx, she's very complicated. Cause like you see her do all this catastrophic events, but like you see what you went through, so it's like, should I hate this character or like should I show sympathy? It's like the ambiguous feel when it comes to these types of characters.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, we could say the same thing about the council. Because like they see Jinx as a vigilante, and they want to bring her in so they can incarcerate her, which is understandable from their perspective.
Right.
However, they don't see it from the perspective of Jinx and what she went through.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of gray area.
Exactly. Whereas like with us, the viewer, we've seen both sides of the story. We've seen both sides of the coin. So it's like, that's another thing. I always like the dissonance between like a character's morality.
Yeah, me too. It's interesting about how they got there too, how they validate and justify it.
A lot of characters have that, right? Like Base has a little bit of that. Vi, I don't know, man. Vi is probably my least favorite character out of those 4, and only because like my initial impression of her was like not what I expected her to be.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Like League of Legends kind of led her to be like she actually is like this rough and going cop. But man, they put a lot of rough in there and not a whole lot of cop.
Yeah, I mean,
that changes in season 2, but like
yeah, and maybe we still haven't seen all of it yet. Definitely.
Oh no, I mean again, they still have time to grow.
Yeah, but I can agree with that. But I did like seeing her younger years and everything, and seeing how she was the way she was, and like everything she did, I could see why she did that. Like I understood, and like being in prison for so long too. And she was already pissed off at
2 years, if I recall. Yeah.
Yeah, she was already pissed off at Piltover and everyone like that, and just makes it even worse. And she has nothing left to do but seethe and want to get her revenge. You know.
Yep.
So, but yeah, definitely, I feel like there needs to be more with her. But I don't know. I'm biased, but I really like her. But it's mainly just like that doesn't take shit from anyone. I always usually like those kind of characters.
Same.
But I can definitely agree that she does have a bit more developing to go, and maybe we haven't seen that yet. But.
One of the main things I love about the show is like the duos. Like let's see, Victor and Jace, and then of course there's Jace and Mel, like the councilwoman, because that is like a power couple there. Like holy shit, if I haven't seen one. And then there's Caitlyn and Vi, and I liked as to why they paired these two up, because you have someone who was born in an aristocratic, rich, high-class family working with someone who has lived in the underground, low-class, sewage-as-all-hell undercity. And bringing up that context of classism, like, Caitlyn's never been in this type of area. And I'm sure she's had her type of prejudice towards people in the other city. Then, like, when she interacts with people like Vi or basically anyone that she's seen in the undercity, she starts understanding the concept of sympathy, perspective, and her demeanor just changes because of that.
Yeah.
Which, little side note, I mean, I know why they were there, but my ass was just laughing the fact that Vi brought Kayla to a brothel, if y'all remember that.
Oh my god. Oh, dude, that fucking Yordle.
Oh god.
The fucking prostitute Yordle.
What the was that? The little girl thing?
I don't know, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was Tristana.
Yeah, I was like, Trist, what happened?
Look, you gotta remember, Banalgutta never turns tail, okay? Never turns tail.
Unless it's to taunt you.
Yeah. She'll give you the tail, but she won't turn it.
Like, man, whose idea was it to put this Yordle in this Halle Berry Catwoman looking ass suit?
Oh, the fucking
Spandex
BDSM. The BDSM outfit.
Yep.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was hilarious.
I feel like that's
Jesus.
gonna be a skin for
Oh.
one of the Yordles. I'm telling you
Dude,
that right
I would
now.
bet the BDSM fucking Timo.
But yeah, I find it interesting that they're semi pushing this romance between Caitlyn and Vi. Like, y'all notice that?
Yeah, it's not in your face though, but that is there. But
Right, they hint at it.
Yeah,
The
it's-
same way they hinted with Caitlyn and Jace.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, yeah, they did hint at that too. And funny
Yeah.
thing is the fact that the reason why that kind of broke off is the fact that Jace offered something in regards to like a type of job to make Caitlyn be safe or something like that. And then, but
And I think that
Caitlyn didn't find that very appealing, and then next thing you know, that shit broke off.
I think that's Caitlyn's character.
Yeah.
You know, like it's all these people, parents, Jace, whoever, are constantly trying to make her
Life
safe
safe.
and not in danger, and she wants to fucking jump right in it. And you know who's a great example of that?
What's up?
Vi.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to build a relationship between two characters, that's how you do it. You surround them with all their friends and family who tell them to do this one thing, and they go, "Nope, I hate that," and they find the one person that makes them feel free.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you fall in love, right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
easily.
like the different perspectives they bring too, where like they have knowledge and experience in each side, and they can kind of bring that to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and kind of find some common ground. You know.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just want to bring up something real quick. When you see these directors try to do something as tricky as do a lesbian couple or a gay couple of any kind, usually I just end up not liking it. And not that I'm saying I don't like girl on girl action. I mean, what straight man doesn't, right? But from what I notice, they end up being less organic because they're more catering to the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect example, Ruby.
Everyone in Ruby. Jesus, it's terrible. It's like, and like they talk more about the romance than the actual characters and the story. They're like, that's all they care about. That's it. And it's so obnoxious.
And the problem is the fact that there's no build-up, there's no explanation,
Yeah.
there's nothing to make me believe that these two characters work together. Like, to those who watch Ruby, y'all know who I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I know.
But when it comes to Caitlyn and Vi, it's like, I wouldn't disagree with it because of the fact that it actually shows reasoning as to why that pairing could work, and it would make sense.
Yeah, Rule 34 doesn't have a problem with it.
Hell.
No, I don't know. 34 doesn't have a problem with anything. There's probably a Heimerdinger something or another.
With
BDSM
Jace.
Yordle.
I'm down for that. I'm down with the BDSM.
Sure, yeah.
Heimerdinger X Jace, let's go.
Sorry, babe, I kicked you out of the castle. Let's have makeup sex. Let's have...
You can hate me all you want. I like it.
Oh, no.
God damn it.
No, please stop.
God.
And then he's just like, oh, I have the perfect invention.
The donger.
With the Heimer now, okay? The Heimer two-sider.
God damn it. It's so bad. But no, like, going back to what I was saying, that with Vi and Kaylin, it's like, I love their duo, though, especially, like, when Kaylin had to, like, ponder her sniper to get the shimmer for Vi because she was injured.
Yep, yeah, I like that, too.
What I love about these two is their dynamic with each other. Like, the lengths they would go for each other. With what he said about Vi, it's like, I hear what he's saying, and I can definitely agree with some points in regards to, like, certain things not being included with her character and stuff like that. But at the same time, though, it's the fact that these two work so well as, like, characters. Their chemistry, how they interact, how they help each other. Even, like, with struggles and stuff like that, especially since Kaylin wants to bring Jinx in, but she understands why Vi doesn't want to do that because she's a little sister. Why would she be okay with that? So
yeah, I agree.
It's a mix of things.
But I definitely think there could be more development. But there's only so much time for so much development in one season, you know. And I'm sure there's still more arcs and stuff we haven't seen yet.
Oh yeah.
But I think what upset me most about Vi was they said that Vi was short for Violet. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It's short for violence.
Wait, what did they say?
They said that Vi was short for Violet.
God.
And I'm like, no, Vi is short for violence. God damn it.
I think it's one of those things where like they said that as like a small Easter egg and like a
I know.
bait and switch or some shit like that. I don't know.
I know they did. I know. I was just being.
That's
funny.
no, that's
like,
funny as all hell, bro.
Yeah, I was like, man.
Vi stand for violent.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do like she definitely had the mentality of start punching, ask questions while punching. I like that. But I love that about Vi.
That's great.
So, but again, I'm biased and I understand that I'm biased. So I'm trying to mitigate that as much as I can. But,
Would you say you're biased?
God damn it.
Man. So yeah.
But yeah, no.
But yeah, they do very well with these characters, and a great highlight for me would definitely be the reunion of Jinx and Vi.
Yeah.
Especially when they show that flashback between the two when they were young. And they did Chekhov's gun with the flare perfectly. Because in the flashback, you see Vi giving Jinx this flare gun, right? And you hear her saying in the flashback, if you need me, shoot this in the air, and I'll come find you.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely great foreshadowing since it wasn't used when Jinx was little.
Uh-huh. I
mean, shoot, she does this because she found out there's a possibility that her big sister is still alive.
That was a good scene, too, when she lit it. I liked that. That was a really very impactful scene.
Especially, like, when the flare is about to dissipate, and you think, oh, wow, they're not going to have Vi come. Damn. But then as the flare dissipates, and it's just completely gone, giving Jinx a lack of hope, you hear, Powder? I'm like, damn, she actually came! Holy shit, you had me going for a minute.
It was a very impactful scene, I like that.
Like, man, the climax to that reunion, chef's kiss.
Yeah, I like.
It was done very well. Another one of my top favorites is the fight scene with Jinx and Powder versus the Fireflies, which was Echo's terrorist group, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say with Echo, I loved his like little animation and song when he was there.
Yeah.
On the bridge, I was like, "Yo, this shit's dope." I fucking love. Dude, Echo's a G. Like, he just has his own theme and his own little animation. I loved it. I loved it. It was sick. It was.
I love the fact that Echo spent most of his time just being like the leader of like this group. I would have to say freedom fighters, like a group of like freedom fighters to like fight against like Piltover and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly. I'm sure they'll come more into play soon. I'm sure, but they built that up pretty nice.
And then like you just see like that fight between Echo and Jinx, which like they definitely had some history, especially with the flashbacks they show, which gives it a bit more impact, especially when you see them.
Yep.
Especially when you see that they've actually had like they were like great friends in the past, and it shows like the impact of like you don't want these guys to fight, but it's like it has to happen.
Yeah, agreed. I think they just showed the emotional impact too that had on them as well. Like they showed it like, yeah, this shit's fucked up, but it's gotta happen. You know?
Yeah, I just love the fact that even though like those soldiers, they tried to stop, like this is like before the fight between Echo and Jinx, where it's like the soldiers were trying to stop Vi, Caitlyn, and Echo, and like the person who knocked Vi out, like Marcus, like that main guy, it was him and his group. They were trying to stop them, but Caitlyn was showing her badge, showing that we are Piltover, she's with me, etc., etc. And like we're trying to stop Silco, but next thing you know, you find out that Marcus is like revealing to Caitlyn that, oh no, yeah, I'm working with Silco. Y'all can go yourselves or some shit.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you see like all those shiny Ys there coming in. They look like fireflies or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then like
they're like mechanical.
And the next thing you know, like they do like this little mechanical jitter, and it has like Jinx's inking on it, and the next thing you know, they fucking explode and kills like all of Marcus's soldiers, including him.
Yep.
Which also displays like my problem. One of my problems with the show is the fact that it's to be expected since these guys are the main characters, but fucking hell, these characters have plot armor up the ass. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, and unfortunately, that's something I definitely agree with you. But they can't really get away from. Unfortunately, they kind of
know
themselves.
it's one of those things where like
I'm not. Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm agreeing with you, and I'm not saying it gets a pass. I'm just saying I feel bad for him. You know, because like, shit, what do you do? You're like, well, I mean,
it's one of those. I mean, it's one of those things where like they're like in the same like vicinity as like the soldiers, so it's like, I mean, yeah, I get it. They need to stay alive, but at the same time, though, it's like if you're gonna be putting these characters in the same sense of danger as like these other like backup side characters are, they should be getting like some type of the same treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it should be consistent. I agree, definitely. It's like a minor thing, but it's like, yeah, you should probably.
Exactly. Especially like when Jinx and Echo fight each other, and like, Echo's about to deliver some type of final blow, but he pauses because this is his close friend, which is of course a good touching moment. But due to his hesitation, it gave Jinx time to pull out a grenade, and she pulls out the pin, setting off an explosion. Now, keep in mind, Echo was in point-blank range of the explosion, which, keep in mind, again, can incinerate anyone who is that close. Dude comes out with the broken leg. Yeah, okay. That's definitely what would happen.
Oh yeah, he's fine. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what? Yeah, that was... I honestly was like, did he die? Because I don't think they would have killed him.
Yeah, right.
But like, what?
Yeah, but now he was just chilling underneath the bridge where Heimerdinger finds him.
They never showed a chrono break, but I wonder if there was a chrono break there to get and that's how he got out.
Yeah, because didn't he like activate something beforehand?
I think so.
Like it almost seemed like he was like being like, all right, this is the time I want to revert back to. I don't know if I remember seeing something like that, but like he did something.
I'd have to rewatch. Yeah. All I remember is that stopwatch, and I was like jumping up and down in my seat and not paying attention.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not gonna lie.
Like I remember it was almost like he was like putting like a pin in it, like this is the time I want to come back to. But again, I didn't know if that was actually the case, but that's what it looked like.
It's like I have no idea. It's hard to tell. And then somehow Jinx gets the Hextech jewel from Echo. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then like there's like Jinx's like plan in regards to kidnapping Vi and Kaylin and stuff like that. I mean, like this was like before like Vi tried to like talk with the council and the council tried to come up with like a peace treaty, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
With
or I think was it? Yeah, it was like they were gonna make them a sovereign like city,
right,
or something.
But like,
something like that.
Vi was not happy with that because there's no reasoning with Silco.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, she just disbanded and then just left. So angry, yeah. And then she got the Hextech gauntlets, which is like the little gigantic gauntlet she has.
Yeah, I was like, hey!
There it is!
And when I saw like, let's go.
The moment. I thought that was going to be something where like they pulled that out at like the end of episode 9, like, this is going to show up in season.
Yeah.
But no, they just whipped it out.
Well, same with like Jace's hammer.
I mean, that's my small problem, is the fact that they didn't introduce as to how. I would have personally. I would have loved to see how he built that hammer, like how he turned it from like a melee weapon into like far range.
Yeah,
or that telling of like the technology and stuff like that. And I don't know. In my experience with shows, it seems like season 2 is always the episode where they dump a lot of lore. Yeah. This is how the shit works around here.
Right.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And then season 3 is like kablamo, all the shit comes to realization.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like a 3-act, if you will, kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah,
no,
I agree. Fair. Like, there's a severe lack of invention and magic explanation.
Yeah, it was just kind of a jump, and it's like, no, we have teleporters.
Yeah, exactly.
We have his.
How the fuck did this fucking thing that explodes on occasion turn into a teleporter? Who the hell knows? Heimerdinger doesn't want you levitating, though.
Exactly.
Would you guys stop hovering? I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And he's like,
Like, he's like talking to himself, trying to figure it out. He's like, stop hovering, I'm like, man, that's such like an inventor to inventor say, right? Like, imagine walking in a chemistry lab. It's like, would you put the fucking sulfur acid down?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when you start to see like Victor start to really change too, and
Yeah, especially when you find out that he's dying and stuff like that.
Yeah.
and becomes obsessed with the Hex Tech.
Like the Hex Tech core, which is like this gigantic, this cube-shaped device.
It started to react with like biological matter and
Right.
all that. Mm-hmm.
And like the girl dies, dude. I
Yeah.
was so sad about that. I kind of
Yeah,
like
that
her.
was yeah, that was pretty sad. And then he read all that after the fact.
And that's
Yeah.
another problem I had with this damn show. But it's something I want to say at the end because we're talking about the good things right now, which is like a ton. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot.
like, man, that sinister as all hell scene where Jinx captures Vi, Caitlyn, and Silco. Like, you feel me?
Yeah, and they have the table scene.
That scene was like, hey, this is who the enemy is now, you know? Like, it's like they showed, like, the big bad boss, but they never really showed the big bad boss, you know what I mean?
When it comes to this show, it's like, it's hard to say if there's even like a evil antagonist, because there technically isn't.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of gray area, a lot of
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of
perspective.
conflicted characters.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
so it's weird because, like, they really set Jinx up to be kind of like this Joker character, right?
Harley
Like,
Quinn.
Yeah, she's just this arbiter of chaos.
Yep.
Yes.
You know? And it's not even like some people just like watching the world burn.
Yeah.
The world's been burning for her since day one.
Yep.
You know,
Right.
like she just lives a reality. Which was kind of cool to see her walk through that whole process. And now it's like, oh, like she set up this whole birthday cake scenario where she has to sit either in the chair that says Powder or Jinx. And like, it's kind of one of those things where like she did the Hell Don't Show part for herself.
Yes.
In a psychological sense, you know?
Yeah.
She drew it for herself. Yeah, right? And you're like,
I love that scene for how f***ed up it was.
yeah, like, I get that you feel this way, but, like, wow, you just drew the fucking picture. And it wasn't like the authors were doing that, the character did that.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
And yeah, you're going to hear this a lot from me when it comes to critiquing anything in today's age. But man, the concept that these directors, writers, etc. tend to fail to do every time is making the story move the characters. Even though it's supposed to be the damn characters moving the story.
Yeah.
So the characters are basically just artificial. They're puppets. They're not their own person. There's no life in them. Y'all know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. They're not really an active agent per se. They're just kind of there. Yeah.
There's artificial as shit. It's just they just have no substance.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm happy that Wazzy brought this up. Because yes, exactly what he just said. All that crazy shit that's going with Jinx, she feels this way because she feels it for what she's been through. She doesn't feel this way because the script told her to feel this way. You feel me?
Yeah, I like how they've illustrated the identity crisis she was having, like with herself, and trying to kind of prove to herself what she is or what she should be. And she's kind of going through it, and you're like, "What's she gonna?" I mean, we knew,
Oh yeah, definitely.
but like in general, you're like, "What's she gonna do?" Like, you know, like what is it? And she's like almost trying to like justify it herself. You know what I mean? And running it through. You know, so I like that. I thought it was a cool way to show that. You know, a very theatrical way.
Like, especially what Wazzy was saying with the whole 2 tiers thing. Like, one says Powder, one says Jinx. Like, if you want to be my sister and prove your sisterhood, then you have to do this for me. However, if you don't do said action, then I'm gonna be chilling in the crazy chair. Like, man.
Which is funny because, like, Vi proves it to her, and she still becomes Jinx.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, yeah, dude, I feel what you're saying. What Vi was providing wasn't good enough for Jinx.
Yeah.
And what Jinx wanted from Vi is to kill Caitlyn.
Yeah, damn.
Like, just straight up shoot her with one of her guns. Like, holy
Yeah, no, I mean that was it. She drew this line. Like it's weird because if you ever look into like a psychological breakdown of somebody, sometimes people will just draw these lines. Like once I achieve this will happen. That it never works out that way.
It never does.
Sometimes what is just is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Powder is dead. Like that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jinx is now Jinx. It's too far gone, and then whatever Jinx ends up becoming is like whatever. But for her to be like, if you shoot Caitlyn, then I will be Vi.
You mean Powder?
Regardless of what happened in that room, then she was becoming Jinx no matter what.
Yeah, it's not like it'll magically get better with some arbitrary line to cross. Yeah.
Even if Vi were to cross that line and shoot Caitlyn, it wouldn't have changed anything because when it comes to like trauma and stuff like that, it doesn't get fixed with the flick of a switch or flick of a finger and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's like there are people who have gone through like the same trauma as Jinx has through like therapy and shit like that, just years and years of therapy, and they're still not cured of it. So
I don't think trauma is a thing you ever get cured of.
You don't.
Right?
You don't.
It's just a thing you learn how to manage and work with.
Exactly.
You cope with it, yeah.
But like, Jinx has been through like so much problems, especially like when she finds out that she's the reason Vander's dead. She's the reason why the two brothers are dead. She's the reason that, or shoot, the fact that her sister, quote unquote, abandons her, even though she tried to save her, but then complications happened with her being
Silco, quote unquote, abandons her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just like the fact that towards the end where like she just gets gun-ho crazy when she grabs her minigun and then accidentally shoots Silco.
Yeah.
And he just starts, saying like, I was never going to give you... Because like if you remember, Silco and Jace were talking since, Jace is like head of the board. He was talking with Silco saying like, if you want peace between Zahn and Piltover, this and this will have to happen.
Yeah, they had an accord.
Right. And Silco agrees with his demands, and that was the end of it. Until Jace says, one more thing. In order for this to be set in stone, I want Jinx. And bro, to make matters worse, Silco was discussing this treaty with some of his cronies, right? And Jinx overheard their discussion, and that's pretty much led to Jinx kidnapping him along with the other two girls. But then, like, during that scene where they're saying their final goodbyes, since Jinx accidentally shoots him, he was saying that he was never, ever gonna give her up. And even though the story doesn't admit this, it doesn't have to. Because it doesn't have to. Because Silco finds Jinx as a surrogate daughter. Like, you can tell just based on their relationship and just how he feels, the expression that goes on his face as he passes on.
So you showed he actually cared, and that wasn't just using her as a pawn, which I thought was pretty powerful too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
'cause I wrote him off as just that,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow,
this character's, like I say, is very complex, and it's like, this character's, it's very well done. I mean, Wazzy, what's your opinion on that?
And look, man, I don't know. That whole scene, man, was phenomenal from start to finish.
Agreed.
Because, like, they just covered all this trauma base as well for Jinx. Then, like, the way that I and Silco were reacting in that situation, they're like, oh shit, we're in a loose cannon right now. We have to get out. So they're desperately trying to point the finger at each other. Caitlin's like, this shouldn't be happening at all. Like, this is nonsense. And then, like, Silco fucking dies. Vi is fucking speechless. I don't know what the hell happened to Caitlyn at that point.
I have no idea.
Here's the thing, though. The more I think about the scene, the more I don't know about it yet. Because, like, Jinx shoots the fucking rocket at the council.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was
that, like, always the plan? Or was it like maybe she shot it at Zahn?
Mm-hmm.
Was there ever a scenario where like she sides with Vi and shoots down the Undercity?
It's hard to tell.
Right?
The plans weren't actually explained or discussed, I guess, and I'm not sure that. I mean, maybe it was discussed and I missed it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not sure if the destruction of Piltover was part of the plan. I guess that.
Well,
I
who
was
the hell
on
knows what Jinx's plan is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just took it as her going crazy, but at the same time, it seemed like a little too calculated.
Yeah, I
for
agree.
her.
Right, exactly. Like
You
she
know?
just kind of thought this through. Like she's
Right.
gonna have this scene.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yes.
decision's gonna be made. A rocket's gonna get shot. But like, is there a world where it turns tables? Like she shoots it at Undercity.
Right.
I wonder.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. I don't know. And what she would gain from that, really.
Right.
Other
If
than-
I was
other
bad,
than-
yeah.
Right, like it's just onslaughting a war, pretty much. Which is, I think, what they're kind of bringing out, like with the freedom fighters, and
Right.
that's kind of what I think they're setting up.
That's the one thing.
So-
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
like the cliffhanger.
It was a good way to end it. It was a great way to end it. I remember like my jaw dropped. I'm like,
Because like, what's interesting is the fact that you know what I always like found like that Rocket is like a bit of a metaphor, since that's actually her ultimate in games. So it's like, if y'all ever played like League of Legends or anything like that, her ultimate, basically what it is she shoots like a rocket or something like that, and it just goes like across the map, and whatever it collides with, it explodes. So it's like, I mean, obviously, giant missile, it's gonna explode, obviously, but it's like, how I think of it is the fact that this show just ended with a bang.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But it was a good way to end it. You're just like, oh shit.
and what a
Like, the
bang, and what a
implications.
bang it was. Holy shit.
Yeah, the implications of what that could bring and where everyone sits.
It's one of those things where like, will peace ever be? Because like, if you watch, it's like you see like all like the council treat, like people of the council were raising their hands to agree with the peace treaty with Zahn. But then as that's going on, Jinx's rocket comes into play.
Right, and they do not show the explosion.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she always throws a monkey wrench into some kind of plan or something. You know, that's kind of her thing.
Oh, I didn't even catch that metaphor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, something good was just about to happen. There goes Jinx.
Yeah, right.
Wow, man. Hey, wow.
Don Diggity Don Golf, fuck that up.
That character just has a string of bad luck.
Yeah, man. She's a Jinx. Man.
Yeah. You know, it's weird because I feel bad for her. I'm like, no, she can't be a Jinx. Don't call her that.
She fucks everything
Oh,
up.
shit. You see, he even left. He agrees with me. No, stop calling her
Stop
that.
calling her that. Don't.
But like, it just feels so real, you know?
I agree.
Like, I'm just like, man, this character can do good. Stop calling her that. But time after time, she does something that's like, man, Jinx, how are we getting out of this one, man?
Yeah, it's like, but then like when you see like Jinx and how she is now, it's like you're in conflict. It's like I'm thinking of the little girl, but then like I also have to think about the current Jinx and how she is.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what her goal was. Like, what was her goal? Like, that was my biggest thing. Like, what would you gain
From like blowing up.
from blowing them up? Like, I don't know if that was just her going crazy and not knowing what to do, but again, it just seems so calculated, like it was planned. It's hard to say. So
That's pretty much like the end of like Arcane, and holy shit, what a way to end.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As we start like wrapping up here, guys, I got a few questions I want to ask y'all. What was your highlight from the show? And did you have any problems or issues? Are there any conflicts that you have with the show? And final one, what was your favorite character? I want to ask the audience these questions as well. So go ahead and put your answers in the comments below. Definitely like to know.
Man, no problem with the show. I mean, there are some things like I think that there's some underdevelopment on characters, which is I don't know how much of that is just like how well developed some characters are. Like I feel like all characters fail in comparison to Jinx. Like they can nail Jinx to the with a nail in the coffin. You know that character is built head to toe, well structured. I don't know if Caitlyn, Jace, Vi, if they got the same treatment or if they were just shown less.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You know, because I think if you watch the show from start to finish, it's always kind of been about Powder.
It's been her story, yeah.
Yeah,
Jinx.
Definitely.
So I wonder if that table flips in season 2 if they're focusing on a different character.
Right.
You know?
Agreed.
Which, I mean, I don't even know if that's necessarily a problem. So I don't even... Oh, give me more Echo. What the f? Give me more Echo, dude.
Yeah, I agree completely. I was like, man, where's my boy? And then when he came, I was like, then he was gone. I'm like, no! Damn it!
Yeah. And then, like, I want some explanations on the magic and innovator system.
Yeah.
And what the inventors are working on.
Fleshed out,
I want to know more why Singe is doing what he does, you know?
Yeah.
Did they ever give him a name, by the way?
I don't think they named him.
No.
Okay, yeah, this Singed guy. Like, just... What is he doing and what's his relationship to Silco, you know? Because he's just kind of sitting in this lab doing whatever the heck he wants. And, like, Silco seems to, like, respect him to some extent.
Yeah.
But why,
I mean?
Yeah. I feel ya. Like, do these two have history and stuff like that? Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. What were the 3 questions again? Just so I can write them through my head again.
Yeah, how about if we just go through them one at a time, and then like we can circle back. So I would say, like, would you say you have a problem, minor inconvenience, or like a plot hole or something like that you want to? Because we got done talking about the positives, now we definitely got to talk about the negatives now. For sure.
And I don't want to act like, oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but like it's definitely hard to find. But I can definitely agree, like, not everything was definitely as developed as I'd like it to be, per se. But again, there's only so much time. And, like, obviously, as much as it sucks to say, not every character can or should get fleshed out. Yeah. Per se.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, develop, because not everyone's going to have, like, a super... Like, there's going to be characters that are not going to have compelling arcs. That's just how it is. Like, not everyone can have that. You know what I mean? Not everyone can have a redemption arc. There's definitely some questions. Like, definitely Singe thing, that kind of came out of left field, and we didn't really get a lot into that. I remember when it came up, I was like, well, okay, that's kind of weird, but all right, well, he's helping this weird axolotl-looking thing, I guess. But yeah, I would like to see more of that. But yeah, I definitely agree with the developing. But again, I don't know if that'll just come with time or what. But other than that, like, it's really hard to say. And again, I don't want to be like, oh, it's perfect, because I'm always the guy that's like, as much as I love something, I like to see what's wrong with it, but nothing like glaring that really pops out at me per se. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree, though. I definitely want to see more of Echo and more of like what he's doing. But again, I feel like that's definitely being built up for season 2.
Agreed.
But yeah, that's all I could really say. Maybe I'll think of more, like, I just haven't dwelled on it too much, but as of right now, that's it.
No worries. So, like, for me, here, like, I have, like, a small list here. So, like, my problems is, like, minimal, but it's, like, it's the fact that they kill off side characters too fast. Like, Marcus and, like, who was, like, the general, and Sky, who was basically... What was his name? Victor's...
girl.
Yeah, girl, yeah, exactly. The one that got eviscerated.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish that I know nothing about Sky other than the fact that she has a crush on Jason. She's an inventor or assistant. But other than that, that's why her death didn't impact me as much.
Yeah, but my heart ached for Victor more than it ached for her, you know what I mean?
Agreed, yeah.
'Cause I'm like, man, Victor's never gonna know! This girl's after him! This poor man that's dying will never have love!
Yeah.
And then, like, let's see. Well, the plot armor, of course, but it's like, that's to be expected.
Yeah.
And, let's see.
I'm cool with plot armor, man.
That's the thing.
The protagonist is cool, right? Like, as long as I don't want them to die, then they can have plot armor.
Yeah, of course.
It's made of pure plutonium.
Oh yeah, definitely made out of plutonium. Nice. And like there's of course like a few plot hole questions. I wouldn't say plot. It's hard to say, but it's like, what in the hell was that shit that Jinx was injecting into Silco's eye?
Yeah, that I was wondering actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. I feel like that's gonna have a reveal soon.
Right, and like the hex cord, like the gigantic Rubik's Cube thing. How the fuck does that work? Who was the guy that Jace talked to that was in the cloak when he was a kid?
Oh yeah,
the one that saved his mom.
Yeah, people are saying Rise, but I'm like, I
sort of thought that, but someone from like Runeterra, but honest to God, it's hard to tell.
I could see Rise, that being Rise. I think that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
He is like 1,000 or something like that years old. So
so I guess he'd be like the most likely.
And also teleportation magic, like.
That is also true.
Yeah.
That's a little on the nose.
It is.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
And where the f did these Hextech crystals come from?
Yeah.
Like the one that exploded in Jace's room. And my biggest question that I was praying and hoping that would get answered before Silco died is the fact that why the f were Vander and Silco fighting in the first place?
Oh yeah, they don't really go into the past all that much, do they?
They just said like he worked for him, I guess, and that was kind of it.
It has something to do with the lanes. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that could have been fleshed out a bit more. Agreed.
Like I said, these are like minor inconveniences because of the fact that the story is like told so well to the point where like this is stuff that was like looked over. The reason why I have these in my notes is the fact I watched the show twice. So it's like
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go over every single one of those points as you do.
Yeah, with how tight
when they do the history dump.
With how tight and and stuff everything seems, and fleshed out.
Like I said, with this, it's like they do that too, but at the same time though, they're explaining the story of how they've been doing it in this season and not do a dump truck of exposition.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exposition drop, yeah. Yep.
Because like I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna be bringing that up to the creators and stuff like that. So I pray and hope they don't fall into the same trap as
Ruby.
As Ruby, exactly.
Where they just listen to the fans and they force an exposition that just doesn't work well with the narrative.
It's not engaging either. You're just kind of like, all right, cool.
Just doing it for the sake of the audience to shut them the fuck up, which is like I mean, I get it. I'm a content creator myself, so it's like you need the audience to make your product legit visible.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, there are times you have to go, fuck the audience.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you try to impress everyone, you impress no one. So it's like, you just gotta go by your own gut. I mean, I get it. In their case, the main creator, Monty, passed away. But that's more reason to not listen to your audience every single time. I mean, listen to critiques. Listen to opinions, but you can't let your audience write the narrative and characters for you. That's your job. Take critiques with a grain of salt along with your view count and reviews. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a double-edged sword though? Because like, didn't Sonic do the same thing and it worked out? And then they made a thing, and then their fans were like, "No, this is shit."
I think it depends because,
I feel like that's more the character design rather than like the story itself.
Because
because
there's a character design, but we're talking like actual like story plot,
and exposition.
Points and I think that so like there's definitely good things. Like you can definitely take their stuff into consideration, but at the end of the day, like that's why you have like a director who kind of puts everything to a razor edge of like, this is the concept and this is how I want to bring it. That's why you have a director. You know what I mean? Like if you had a bunch of people like having ideas, it would just feel disjointed and really off.
Agreed.
So yeah.
What was your guys' highlight for as we start closing out shop here? Like, what was your guys' highlight for the show? And favorite character?
Oh, favorite character is Jace.
Jace?
Straight up.
My favorite character, it's a mix between Jinx and Vi. Both of those characters are definitely in my on my top 4 for sure. What about you, Meshuggah?
I think I'm also like I really like Jace's place and everything, but I have such a soft spot for Jinx and Vi. But I think overall, I just loved the amount of personality and attitude that Vi had personally.
Yeah.
Like everything that she says, I'm like, I'd say that too. Like there was even a time,
Yeah.
there was even a time where we were watching, and I'm like, man, f them, and she's like, yeah, fuck them. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like she literally said it, like exactly what I said. I'm like, yeah,
that's gotta be so cool.
yeah. Like I was like, yeah. So I think I'm gonna go with Vi.
Vi.
Definitely overall.
That's fair. And like for like the highlights, what would you say is your highlight for the show? Like my highlight is definitely the final scene at the table. With the amount of tension, and like, and just like the conflict between Jinx and like these three characters, like, holy shit.
Yeah, there was a lot of tension
it's insane.
there.
Like reasoning with Vi is because like she quote unquote abandoned her Kaylin because she's like one of those enforcers that's trying to bring in Jinx and also is close to Vi. And Silco, from what she overheard about trying to get rid of Jinx and giving her up to Piltover's council. So it's like her just unleashing her feelings, then her just like going through like her mental, and then just that interaction between her and Silco, that was just that hit you pretty hard. It's either that or like the reunion between her and Vi, but I think it's mostly the table scene. What's yours, Juice? Wazzy, what's yours?
Is it biased for me to say it's when Jace got laid?
It was pretty magical.
Pretty magical.
Pretty magical. Yep.
So I'm actually torn between two scenes because like one I really like that Echo combat scene with Jinx because that shit was
That
lit.
was hype.
And especially as someone who played Echo a lot, like it's weird to like play a video game and then watch a television show represent that so well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like everything about that fight scene really felt like playing Echo against Jinx.
Yeah,
But-
that sounds about right.
Which was cool and all, but like if it was just that emotion, it's like eh. The moment when they're like, when the fucking chick's mom comes over and she's like this powerhouse Noxian character, and I'm like, man, I can actually feel like every
Oh, Mel's mother, yeah.
I can feel every inch of like not only of what it means to be a Noxian, but like also how that interacts with Piltover. It generates so much of the world for me with so little words and actions.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's like almost a throwaway character in these 3 acts.
Yes.
Because she comes in, she kind of gloats and says a lot, and no one does anything she says.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, man, I felt like even though she did literally nothing other than have sex with some dude on a balloon, like, she did so much for me as a viewer, you know?
Right.
So I felt and learned a lot off of that. So,
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I actually like. It's one of those things where like you get mixed emotions with her mother. It's like I feel like she's like a dictator type of character, right?
Yeah, which like supposedly that's what Noxia is.
Yeah.
It's just this weird giant dictatorship, which also is ruled by a demon, I guess.
Swain, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was actually hinted that if you remember correctly, she mentioned something to her daughter that her brother got killed. It was actually hinted that it was Swain who killed him.
Oh, really?
Okay. Okay.
It's a theory. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a theory as to why.
That would be interesting. I'd like to see that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it's a theory.
I mean, that would solidify it then, because the only thing that scene is missing is my connection to League of Legends.
Yeah, right.
So, but I mean that's still just like it's a lot. You know, because like if it wasn't for Jace in the first place, like she wouldn't be able to be there at that time. You know.
God no.
And she was giving advice about things that mattered, and the part of Jace's and Mel's character arc was whether or not they listened to her mom.
Yeah.
Because it developed a lot of character for Mel, and then also definitely developed a lot of for Jace. Less so that what he learned, but more so how he acted towards her.
Yes.
Yep.
You know,
Definitely.
I think that one probably takes the cake over Echo. But man, that Echo scene was so cool.
It was, especially with the music, man.
The
Holy
music
shit.
got me so, and I love the animation, like how it was like a strobe light, how it went in and out and in and out. I was like, I actually like visibly was like, I got him like, go.
Yeah.
Let's go! Yeah, bro.
I was so
great.
hyped. Which that actually plays into that. That was one of the runnings for my favorite scenes too. Like that was probably where I got most hyped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was hype. But for overall favorite, I think I might have to pick the Vi and Jinx being reunited.
Yeah.
That was like super emotional for me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, with like the way that happened. She used the flare and everything, and like they came back, and like I like too that like a part of Jinx, she doesn't hate her sister or anything. Like there's just a really big disconnect in there, and it was really sweet to see them come together and be like, it's fine, it's okay, it's okay. Like there's so much shit, and you're just like I was like, man, this is. I was like, ooh, this is.
Oh, dude, hell yeah, dude. That scene, I feel like I got everyone, man. And what's funny is Vi's demeanor in this show is a complete and total shock for me because in the game, I played a lot of Vi.
Mm-hmm.
And in these types of games, you hear these characters say these voice lines, like quips, responses, etc., how they feel about the situation. So, like, when I hear Vi's lines, she comes across as strategy. What the hell is that? Pfft, full frontal assault all day, all night. Your feelings. I mean, she has, like, the mind of a vigilante, but, like, the composure of a cop. Just all serious-like. But, man, in the show, I mean, she still has this ruffian type of persona to her character.
Mm-hmm.
But she still has composure and sympathy towards characters that she is close with.
Yeah, agreed.
Perfect example when she gets captured by Echo and his crew. Like, you think how everything went down, you think that Vi would be in conflict with Echo. Like, not only will Silco be a problem, but Echo and his crew will be an enemy as well for Vi. But man, as she gets done unbinding herself from her shackles, she could knock the kid out, but no. She straight up hugs the kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was such a very touching scene because even though Echo came in swinging, knowing it was Vi, and Echo just assumed that Vi was working with Silco, which pissed her off, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
She still maintained her composure. Because the two were close, because they ran as a crew together back in the day. I mean, she's same thing with Echoes, the same thing with Jinx. Jinx did a lot of catastrophic events in both Piltover and Zaun. At the same time, though, even though that's the case, Vi doesn't care. I mean, she does, but it's one of those cases where she's her baby sister.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like with Vi, it's like, I don't like what you're doing, but you're my baby sister, and I love you. And I want to help you. I want to fix this.
Yep.
It's like, she only sees the good stuff in Jinx and tries to bypass the bad. Like, this is one of the reasons why I love this character. Especially for how relatable she is. I mean, like, this is the same way how you would feel with your close friends and family. It's like, even if they do some dumb as all hell shit, you still love them to bits, and you want to try leading them on the right path. You feel me?
Yeah, I think it really struck me too because I actually have an older brother and we used to be really, really close, and we had a really big disconnect and still have not reconnected or had that coming together. So it really like hit me and like it went close to home, and I'm just like, oof, it's like something I wish I had. Like, you know what I mean? So it kind of hit me pretty good.
Yeah, dude.
So definitely would have to say that one overall.
I think Wazzy and I have like that too. With
Yeah, although I'm the older brother in that situation.
I play the role between the both of you since I'm mostly the older brother, but I am also a little brother as well.
Yeah.
So So I'm glad you guys know what I'm talking about because I was like,
Oh yeah.
you guys
Oh,
need
100%.
to chill on this.
You know, it's really interesting because you had that experience with that scene, and it's really neat because my experience with that scene was a completely different. Like, thing goes out, I'm like, man, that's just another thing that Jinx doesn't get. And then Vi shows up, I'm like, no, you fucking idiot, you have Caitlyn. This is gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
It always goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
I wasn't like heartfelt or anything. I'm like, man, this is going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. That's a very good point because Kalen was trying to bring Jinx in.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
what do you expect?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think Vi was even thinking. You know, she
Yeah.
just wanted to see her, which you know,
Right.
again,
She
I mean,
wants to
that's-
see her sister.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel that. Well,
Jinx.
as it hits home though for sure. But at the same
Yeah.
time though, yeah, I agree. I can definitely admit that too. So yeah, I guess like we can like start ending it there because I think we're like reaching a bit deep here. So,
Oh, I like the.
Yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
long.
but no, yeah. So like we're about to like end this here. Wazzy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was fun.
was
So
great.
like before we end off here, I usually give like ratings and stuff like that towards like the end of these. So with me, even with the plot holes and plot armor that I mentioned previously, along with a few inconveniences, they're not as noticeable when you watch it on the first viewing.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that I give something of this rating. And I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10, or like a 9.5 out of 10.
Damn.
No, man, I know. I usually don't give shows or movies this high of a rating. But this show gets a lot right. Especially with it being a video game adaptive piece. It has engaging characters, a cohesive story, to where it can be set apart from the game these characters were based off of. See, that's another reason why I rate this show so damn high. Like, you can watch the show without having played the game. And still be engaged.
Yeah.
However, to the people who have played the game, like us for example,
Yeah.
it's basically like a tasty treat
Yeah.
because it's an Easter egg hunt when it comes to us, especially on the second viewing. You hear the references that the show expresses that you would probably understand if you played the game. I mean, shoot, the characters are different in the show compared to the game. But the personality and how these characters act is still close to where you can believe that this is a prologue to these characters.
Yeah.
So in other words, even though the characters are different from game to show, Riot still shows respect to these characters the same way they do in the game, which is great for fans who've played the game. So in other words, no matter what side of the coin you're on, you'll enjoy this show no matter what. And everything I just said is what 90% of video game adaptive films fail every damn time.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'm chilling now. Wazzy, what do you think about it? What's your rating?
And I want to give it a 10. I almost want to say 9.5 though. There's only like one thing that is deterring me here, and like I can't even justify it, to be honest. I'm trying to think of how they insert this anyway. I think it's a 10. This show is a fucking masterpiece in a genre that has had a lot of failures, I think. And I think giving it a 10 out of 10 here is probably appropriate. Now, with that said, I think season 2 is going to be an 8 or 7 out of 10.
I'm thinking that too.
I think it has to be. I think if season 2 is a 10 out of 10, then like I don't know, dude. They know some formula that I don't.
Yeah.
You know. But like I think season 2 has to be bad so that Greek has something to live up to. Because like if this is a 10 out of 10, like we're gonna get real nitpicky if season 2 is a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and like
right.
Jace's hair should have been parted to the other side. You know, like that's a different
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Right.
But like the reason I almost hesitated on the 10 though like there's one thing I think that a show like this can like absolutely blow away. If they take the opening song and place it into the
End scene, yeah.
Like that's when it's
episode 9.
End scene of the climax. Yeah, that would have been great.
It's like the ultimate like anime trope. That's like the coolest shit ever.
It has such a good impact when they do it. It's like, oh
yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
It is like, and especially like for Enemy, it has such a certain tone to it that I really think fits the ending of this season.
Right, like if they played it while she was walking up to shoot the rocket, you know,
that would have been like, that would have refined it, like because it has that
dark grittiness. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I agree.
But like, I don't think that knocks it points for not doing that or anything, right?
Right.
Like this show is just good and cool, and you know, one music clip isn't going to change that. You know. But
it's
I also wanted a new Imagine Dragons song on season 2 though. That's for sure.
Right.
If they use Enemy again, I'll be sad.
Yeah,
it'll definitely be a 7 out of 10, no questions asked.
Yeah,
you do everything else perfect. Same song, no, thank you.
The same intro and everything.
Yeah, it was screwed from the outset, man. Sorry. Yep.
What would you, Meshuggah? What would you rate it?
Oh, so I have this thing where with anything when I rate it, I don't give 10s. Like it is you have to like pull teeth. You have to literally do. Not only do you have to be good, but you have to consistently be good. Like not so much I mean like in other seasons, but I mean like I need to think about you. I need to talk about it for like years to come. Like this needs to be something that it impacted me in such a way that I'm like, this is the best of the best. Like it really is. And that being said, I'm a really big fan of storytelling, of characters, of art, animation, like all of it. And like it blew me away. Like it really did. Like on every single, like I know we didn't talk much about the visuals, but the visuals were like you could take a scene and then stop it and that could be a screensaver. Like all of it. Like every single bit. And like we said, the sound design, like I have a huge thing, like I'm big on Foley artists and sound design, and like you could feel it. You could feel the impacts, you could feel the like the power, the energy, the like lasers, the punches, like, you know.
Especially that fight between Vi and Civica, the one with like the mechanical arm.
Yes. Yeah. And like the other thing I have this thing where whenever I watch a show, I'm usually pretty good at guessing what's gonna happen. And this show threw a lot of like, oh fuck, like you were like, whoa, like I basically did, but there was things I'm like, I was not expecting that at all. And so that's when a show gets my attention, is when I can't do that. And like this one definitely has some things like that you're like genuine, like I've seen a lot of stuff, played a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff surprises me, but this did. this definitely, like from a storytelling perspective and characters, and
hell yeah, dude.
So I don't want to drone on too much, but I would have to say like not quite 10, but like pretty close, like 9.5 sits well for me, because I can literally like recommend it to like anyone. Like if you like animation and you like good storytelling and solid dialogue. We didn't talk about the dialogue.
Yeah, my dude.
Just the dialogue was just razor sharp, like to what everyone said, how they said it. Like a lot of times, whenever I watch things, I engage and I talk, and I'm like, this is what I would do, and then that character says it, like not just with Vi, but just in general, you know.
Yeah.
And like I had that a lot with the dialogue, and like that part was really strong for me too, and that's something I look for. So. I would have to sit at 9.5, and like I said, I would love to give it a 10, but like that's something that I really need to spend a lot of time and reflection on, and like over time, and see how the next seasons pan out as a whole story as opposed to just one season. So that's kind of where I'm sitting, but I would love to do, be perfect, but like it is pretty fucking close to perfect. Like,
oh god,
like, it's really hard to pull needles out of this haystack, dude.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, dude.
So that's where I sit.
No, yeah, dude, I feel you. I definitely do. I guess like the reason why I give it a 10 is, well, obviously I said there was plot holes and a few inconveniences, but that's because I noticed that on my second viewing, and Well,
And I've only seen it
It's
once,
not-
so maybe I'll see that again if I watch it again. So,
but no, I definitely feel what the both of you guys are saying, because trust me, it is super difficult for me to even say anything is a 10 out of 10 or shit, let alone a masterpiece. Like you feel me?
it's really
that's-
hard, but I've done it. But and again, I'm not saying this doesn't do, like, it's just, again, it needs to be relevant, not just now, but just in general. Just that's kind of how I look at it. So,
Agreed.
but, I definitely is in the running though. Again, depending on how season 2 goes, that might even make me like it even more, and maybe we'll push that bound or to see where the overall plot is going beyond that. So,
Shit, I'm actually even tempted to buy merch.
I would literally, when it finished, I'm like, "Where's the Blu-ray?" I was
right?
yeah. So I collect movies and shows and games. So,
I collect statues and stuff like that.
I
too.
want an Arcane poster, dude.
oh hell
Give
yeah.
me Piltover.
That too.
Give me Piltover. I'll slap it across my desk here.
I want one of Echo with his crew, like in that that art style in that little music video. That's what I would pay good money
That
for
would be
that.
hype.
And also, I want a skin.
There are skins.
Oh,
Is there a skin for that?
Those Arcane skins
Arcane-
are. I don't know if there's an Echo one, but
There isn't. That's my bad. No,
That's
it's
the
just-
one that I want.
yeah, I kind of want that one too. Although I wonder, like, how much of that is just gonna be just the base Echo skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like,
Yeah,
kind of
good
like
point.
with the mask with Ash, how like for was it Project Ash, you can take it off or on, or or Kaiza, or Kaiza,
Yeah,
Kaiza,
yeah.
Kaiza can do that too. So yeah.
That'd be
dope.
cool.
But yeah, guys, thanks you so much for listening and chilling. I think it's been like probably 2.5, maybe a few hours and stuff like that since we've talked. Bro, we had a lot to talk about here, and bro, we had a blast. I hope you guys had fun like we did, because holy shit, this show impacts you well.
I want to go watch it.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, shit.
Man, to the peeps out there, definitely go watch the show. It's definitely worth your time, for sure. Like, shoot. Wazzy and I and Meshuggah here, we have played the game for like a long time. Or shoot, Meshuggah's girlfriend never played the game once. She probably likes his equally as much, almost. Shoot, fucking Angry Joe watched the show, and he loved every bit of it. And he clearly has never played 1 hour or minute of the game, obviously. So that says a lot. Like I said, it's great for all audiences. But, yeah, definitely watch the show. You will love it. Trust me. Trust us. Trust in the Arcane. Trust in the Hex Tech.
Thanks for watching though, guys, if you made it this far.
You guys rock.
We'll catch y'all later, alright? Thanks, Swazi, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, thank you.
Peace!
Peace.